Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Discriminating Gamer. Say, what did people call Lando Calrissian before he became such a great pilot? Crasho Calrissian. Ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to go ahead and take a look at Star Wars, the deck building game from Fantasy Flight Games. We'll get back to the review in just a moment. I want to take a minute to ask you to check out my other channel, that is Cody Carlson, PhD, where we talk about history, books on history, military history. I even post some of my lectures for my classes on there. Please check that out. Please subscribe to that channel. And now, back to the review. In Star Wars, the deck building game from Fantasy Flight Games, two players take on the roles of either the noble empire as it seeks to bring order to the galaxy, or those mischievous rebels seeking to cause problems wherever they can. Now, players are going to go ahead and set up a galaxy deck. Essentially, this is your lineup of cards, your marketplace. You go ahead and you put those down. Now, some of the cards are rebel cards, and only the rebel player can buy them. And some of the cards are imperial cards, and only the imperial card can buy them. The imperial player can buy them. But some of the cards are neutrals, and either side can buy them. You also have a force tracker. Essentially, you have 7 spaces. You have a kind of a neutral middle space, and then 3 spaces on each side for the rebels or the empire. Now, if you're on the furthest side to you, you actually get another resource, and I'll talk more about that in a minute. But you go ahead, and the rebels actually start with the force all the way on their side. Now, each player is going to start with a base. The Imperial is going to start with Lothal, and the Rebels will start with Dantooine. You'll also have a number of base cards that are going to have some different things that can help you over the course of the game, and more on that later. And then you are also going to have your starting deck. Now, your starting deck typically has 2 trooper cards, which have some attack value. You have some shuttle cards, which have some resource value. And then you're going to have another card. This other card is kind of a wild card because you have 3 basic resources in the game. You have attack, which of course you're going to use to attack your opponent. You have resources, which you're going to use to buy cards in the game, and sometimes heal bases. And then you're also going to have your force, and your force is going to move the force marker up and down along the force track. Now, the Imperials always go first, followed by the Rebels, and what you're going to do on your turn is you're going to essentially assign your attack value. Now, by assigning attack value, you can attack your opponent's base, and what that means is you're going to try to hit them, because each base has kind of a damage value. And then you're also going to put down all your cards that have resources, and you're going to collect resources. Now, for your attack, you can either choose to attack your opponent's base, in which case, assuming they don't have any capital ships that are blocking to take damage, you can go ahead and place damage on their base. Or conversely, what you can choose to do is you can actually attack your opponent's cards in the galaxy row. So this is called sabotage for the rebels, bounty hunting for the empire, but you can essentially use your attack value to take out the health value of a card that's there in the lineup. Now, if you do that, you will gain some kind of a reward, usually more resources or force, but you can go ahead and claim those and then use those on your turn as well. Now, playing resources, you have, as I say, various cards that give you little cubes, resources. You take these yellow cubes and then you can go ahead and you can spend them however you want. Where your attack is kind of divided up, meaning you have to commit to attacking certain cards, your resources, you just gain them as kind of a fluid currency, and you can spend those however you want to spend those. Now, as I say, you will be able to get cards that come out that you place in front of your base that your opponent has to go through, and some of those cards and some other cards as well will allow you to spend resources in order to heal your base. Now, for every force symbol you play, you can go ahead and you can move the force toward you on the force track. Now, if you go ahead and you use these abilities, you can kind of tap the card in order to say, okay, I've used that card this round. But generally what's going to happen is your target is the enemy base. So you're trying to take down these enemy bases. Now, as I say, some of these cards are actually capital ships that you can place in front of your enemy base, and your opponent has to take out the capital ships before they can actually attack your base. So they're kind of these defensive cards. Now, you have your starter base, which is kind of weak. And once your enemy actually takes out that base, then at the end of that round, you get to select a new base. Now, when you select the new base, you've got, I think there's a total of 10 bases, I think, including the starter base, and you can select that base. And the different bases do different things. Some of them may allow you just to take a card from the lineup. Some of them will allow you to, like, ignore the first couple of hits from your enemy. Some of them, like the Death Star, will allow you to spend resources to just destroy enemy capital ships. So when these new bases come out, you can go ahead and use those abilities, and you can choose the abilities to best use at that particular moment in the game. Now, I should point out, too, a lot of the cards have special abilities, and you can choose to use that text ability or not use that text ability depending on what you want to do, but some of them can be very powerful. And when you bring out cards like Princess Leia and Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader, these are incredibly powerful cards that can really shift the balance of the game. So this is why it's important that you want to go on those sabotage or bounty hunting missions, is because if possible, you want to take out those cards before they get into your opponent's hand. Now, in the standard game, players are attempting to destroy 3 of their opponent's bases. But you can change that. You can go up to 5. You could even do more if you wanted to have a longer game. But you go ahead, and once you have defeated all of your opponent's bases before they can defeat all of yours, then you win! Star Wars, the deck building game. So, this is a game, was announced a few months ago, and I kind of didn't see it coming. It was kind of a game that, I was like, oh, hey, they're doing that. And this is kind of true. Fantasy Flight, they used to put out this tremendous quantity of games that I was really super excited for. And in recent years, they've kind of pulled back from that model. But they still manage every now and then to come out with a game that I'm super excited about. And when they announced this, I was excited about it. I like Star Wars, always enjoyed Star Wars. Fantasy Flight's always had, really good Star Wars games. And so I was excited to play this one. So this game came out. I got it maybe about a month or so ago, and I bought it from Fantasy Flight, and I played it with some friends, and I'm playing it, and it's kind of clunky initially as I'm playing it, and then the more I got into it, I'm like, okay, this is cool, and it really kind of moves along. But I actually wanted to really explore this game further, so I invited it to go along on a trip with me to Hawaii. And while we were in Hawaii, I played this game several times. And it was kind of a game you play before you went to bed, or if you were at lunch or something, because it's a fairly small box. It's fairly portable. And so I played this game a lot. I played a lot of this game. And my initial feeling when I first played it was, I was not wild about the fact that you really, other than the capital ships, you really can't defend yourself against attacks. And I kind of like the idea of having a card that had some kind of defensive ability that you could play, but then you couldn't use it on your turn and it'd be out of your hand. Kind of similar to what, something similar to that, like in the DC Comics deck building game. And I really like that idea, and I still think that could be fun. But and so I kind of felt like when I was first playing it, it was missing that. But the more and more I played it, the more and more I realized, well, you don't really need that, because if you're playing smart and the cards are coming up, you're getting some good options to heal your bases, to put out those capital ships to defend your bases. So there's a lot of good options here. Now, so that kind of became less of a priority for me, and I really kind of liked how the ebb and flow of the game worked as it is. Now, this game has been compared to Star Realms. Now, I got to tell you, Star Realms is a great game. I love Star Realms, and I've if you count the digital version on my phone, I probably played Star Realms more than any other game. I play it constantly. That's my go-to toilet game. But this game, there are some superficial similarities to Star Realms. Obviously, you're trying to attack the other player. But there's a lot of difference here in how it's played. There's a lot of for instance, you got like the authority in Star Realms, and you can kind of win that back. And you can't really do that here. Once your bases are gone, they're gone, right? And they are the trophies for the enemy. So you don't have to in Star Realms you have those color combinations that play off of each other. You don't really have anything like that here. Now there are combos, but they don't work like they work in Star Realms and a lot of other deck builders here. And that's fine. I actually have really come to appreciate the way that this one plays. But I want to talk to you for a second about the theme. Thematically, I gotta say, it's not just a question of the artwork. It kind of feels like Star Wars. It drags you into Star Wars. And it's OT Star Wars, so it's okay. But there's a real fun and engaging quality to this game that was even more than I was anticipating. That drags you in even more than I thought it would. I really, really like Star Wars the deck building game quite a bit. However, I do have one caveat, and that is the card quality is really not that great. The tracker for the Force that folds up, it's kind of flimsy. I really wish you'd had some better card stock here. I usually don't sleeve, but I went ahead and I sleeved these. I sleeved this game. I got just kind of some cheap sleeves on there. I may need to get some better sleeves because the sleeves kind of stick. But I was just scared because I thought, if I play this game enough, there's going to be a lot of wear and tear on those cards because they're just not that good. The quality is not that good. That's my only complaint, is I wish the quality was better. Sleeve them. Other than that, I love the Star Wars deck building game. It's really a lot of fun. I like it because it's quick. I like it because it's engaging. I like it because the theme is awesome. And it's tense. And, I was playing with Kim a lot of these battles, and we were in like the last, I don't know, round, where each got one base left, and we're like putting out those capital ships. They keep coming out, and so we can't get to each other's bases, and we keep doing it, and then somebody's able to do something, or I'd be the rebels, and Darth Vader would come out, and I'd take out Darth Vader, and she'd get mad, and she'd do the same thing to Luke Skywalker, and it was so much fun. This game is a roller coaster ride. It starts slow, but it builds. And I know I've seen some other people talk about that in deck building, how they don't like how slow a deck builder starts. I like it. It's a building action. It's like, okay, we're all kind of level here. Everything's fine, and then everything just goes crazy. So I really, really like that aspect of all deck builders, and I really like it here as well. I'm a big fan of this game, obviously. Recommendation, 100%, if you like Star Wars, or you're just looking for a real good, head-on-head deck builder, you're going to want to get this one. And they're going to come out with expansions too. There's like Palpatine, Yoda, a lot of characters aren't in this one. We're going to have more expansions that bring those characters in, and bring it on. I'm so excited. I'm thrilled. And I'd love to see kind of a 2v2 version of this as well. Oh my gosh, there's so many possibilities. Such a great game. So much fun. I love Star Wars: The Deck Builder. Recommendation, buy it. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you once again for joining us today on The Discriminating Gamer. As always, we ask you to please leave a comment for us on YouTube, on Board Game Geek, on our Facebook page, or on thediscriminatinggamer.com. We'd ask you to please like us on Facebook, subscribe to us on YouTube, and follow us on Twitter. I'd also ask you, ladies and gentlemen, to please check out my other channel, that is Cody Carlson, PhD, where we talk about military history and books on history. I'm currently uploading my lectures on World War II on that channel. Please check it out, and please subscribe. That would mean a lot to me. And I'd also ask you to please give a thumb to this video on Board Game Geek. That helps us out a lot as well. Ladies and gentlemen, I was recently watching on YouTube a documentary about the building of the Death Star. It was riveting.